Humans love being put on an undisputed pedestal above all else. It's such an intrinsic part of ourselves that there is nothing in the world that hasn't been meticulously defined and catalogued. We know exactly what's more acidic, conductive, dangerous, useful, who's faster, smarter, wealthier, popular, so on and so forth, until there's a definitive point where we can say, I'm the true best due to X, Y, and Z. But what happens on the precipice of something becoming indistinct from humans? What do we do in a world where robots start perfectly replicating and going beyond their creators, as they start highlighting how our bodies, relationships, and desires aren't inherently special? We need to make a clear distinction as to why these fabricated servants will always be beneath our intrinsic human value. A desperate fight against inevitability, grasping at straws to find what makes humans objectively better, finding what worth we could possibly have. A common exploration that is flipped on its head within Pluto, since the story centers around both sides actively trying to bridge the gap, with robots doing everything in their power to better live as humans, mimicking all their actions even when wholly unnecessary, and with scientists doing everything in their power to achieve better results, creating more realistic appearances, more intricate AIs, more powerful bodies, ultimately culminating in the world's 7 most advanced robots, and the subsequent birth of a robot that is perfect in every way. Now, how would you define a perfect robot anyway? If those that can easily be mistaken for humans don't qualify, what would? Well, obviously a human would think that you just need to make a robot more like mankind. Or as the leading robotics expert and genius Dr. Umateru Tenma would say, a brain capable of error. That's what it means to have reached perfection. For them to possess a proper soul, they need to strip away at their artificial perfection to bring forth an authentic failure. I think this concept alone makes Pluto an unforgettable experience, especially with how the story challenges the assertion. For this concept is shown as anything but a pure one, ironically being warped by the folly of humanity, having Dr. Tenma unable to move past his nature as a scientist. A facet of the character best exemplified through grief. Spoiler alert, but he doesn't have the best approach to handling failure in his life, especially given the inability to recover from his son's sudden death, a flaw that would extend to everything he touched. As much as Dr. Umateru could be described as dedicated or a revolutionary, you can also view these traits as him being borderline obsessive and delusional, a person so engrossed in the idea of pioneering a breathtaking future that he doesn't live his own ordinary but real human life. Tenma's work made him neglectful of his own son, which in turn only increased the sorrow that came from the boy's sudden death. But that's okay, for Dr. Tenma is no ordinary man. He's a genius far beyond any equal. He will artificially bring his son back with the creation of Adam, the culmination of all his experience. Now, did Dr. Tenma succeed in his endeavor? Well, that depends on who you ask. The world constantly highlights how Adam is practically human, something so remarkable that various characters like Gasik, the most advanced detective robot, felt moved by his authenticity. It truly seems that all those in the presence of Adam become convinced that he is a perfect creation, heralding him as an inspiring symbol for advancement from both humanity and robot kind alike. That is, with one lone exception, Dr. Tenma himself. He is initially kind and happy with Adam, attempting to become the father he never was back when his son was alive. Unfortunately, there is no bringing back the dead, with the illusion of a robot replacement slowly crumbling away. In the end, Tenma completely rejected Adam as he isn't exactly like the lost troublesome son. only viewing the creation as a constant reminder of his failure as a scientist and father, birthing the desire to make the aforementioned perfect robot, something that you'll see was always destined for failure. In the next section, keep in mind how Umataro, while a respectable mouthpiece in the series, still isn't close to being infallible nor the best source of wisdom on the human condition due to his own shortcomings. We shouldn't take his words at face value nor completely disregard his stance, especially when considering the various similarities he has with Pluto's main antagonist.
私は完全なロボットを作ったことがある。世界の人口99億と同じ数の人格を分析してプログラミングしたんだよ。そのロボットは何にでもなれる。どうなったと思う？そのロボットは。目覚めなかったんだよ。いや、自ら目覚めるのを拒否したと言うべきか。複雑すぎたんだ。99億の人格をシミュレートするには無限の時間がかかるだろう。ただ目覚める方法は分かっていた。99億の混沌を一つの方向に統率すればいい。どうやって？偏った感情を注入することでね。偏った感情？そう、偏りこそが混沌をシンプルに解決するプログラムだ。そのロボットは今はどこに？さあね、所有者が持ってるだろう。どこかで未だに眠ったままね。
Among all those possibilities, what conclusion does the story make on humanity's soul? I believe that the heart of the facts is Brau 1589, the first known robot to have killed a human being. Despite this going against the laws of robotics, no flaws could be found after analyzing Brau's AI, leaving him a scientific mystery. The true extent of humanity's fear against him cannot be stressed enough. I mean, they quite literally constructed an entire prison around Brau so that they wouldn't have to move him, even with his broken down state, with their aversion persisting 8 years later at the start of Pluto. Put simply, humanity was overcome with a repulsion from their instinctual understanding of what Brau 1589 truly reveals. Spoiler alert for Pluto ahead, the story is a murder mystery after all. Gesek's journey as a detective comes to a sudden end when he finds out how he has previously killed a human. If that wasn't bad enough, he also finds out that his overseers decided to essentially give him a lobotomy via secretly deleting his memories, stripping away at his soul and subsequently posing a societal risk magnitudes higher than Brau. After all, they could easily control the situation if he ever did get out of line by erasing his memories again. A plan that might have worked if humanity wasn't always dismissing the potential of others. Of course, Brau is a prime example of this. A robot secluded from everything and everyone, yet still managing to have deep insight on all events through the feelings conveyed from his peers. But you can really view all of the robot interactions in Pluto as showcasing the same thing, collectively demonstrating how robots didn't become like humans because of humanity. They reached those heights of freedom in spite of the collars their masters tightened around their necks. There is no prerequisite for a soul as long as you allow it to exist freely. The true monster in Pluto isn't a lone individual, but humanity as a collective, with the faults in our souls impacting multiple key events and leading to untold destruction and salvation. Adam doesn't return after his death thanks to a highly sophisticated AI model or the hatred introduced by Dr. Tenma. It was something much more down to earth. It was recounting the shared experiences and bonds formed with his peers. A simple appreciation for a snail. Something that is often overlooked but holds a lot of value in its own right, which is why the robots in Pluto aren't narratively opposed to or separate from humanity. Instead, they are another piece that allows us to see the whole. The needlessly obsessed and overworked Tenma stands as the root cause of Pluto. With Adam, the robot that lost his father, friends, and his own life, stands as the story's hero. He isn't the same person after all the painful experiences, but that also doesn't mean he needs to become jaded and filled with hatred. He continues to go on because of what he holds as precious to him. Even if there is no objective importance in his passions, that doesn't make it any less valuable, for life isn't solely defined by logic or objective facts, shown by the vast differences in personalities and lives between each of the 7 most advanced robots. Without a spark of desire, you would never accomplish anything, stuck in an endless dream of the possibilities, solely focusing on all that could be, until you don't do anything, simply existing as you currently are, without change, without life. For life exists to live. Despite humanity's longing for an irrefutable answer to our purpose, it wouldn't help us in the slightest. I mean, if we all became doctors, there wouldn't be any more children playing in the rain. In the end, a clear-cut purpose would only serve to reduce our existence to something mediocre, to something perfect. And that's the problem with people nowadays. They aren't truly living their lives anymore. With the emergence of the internet and social media, now, more than ever before in human history, you can do anything or become anyone in the entire world. Yet that overwhelming abundance of information at the fingertips of humanity is precisely why people are complacent, allowing the stream of their circumstances to guide them to a decision. Even amongst those highly ambitious individuals, they often rely on their own natural talents in order to get ahead. Pluto encapsulates these countless stories, the countless lives that people have all around you. It asks that no matter what direction you've taken or what future you envision, please go out and live your own life right now. There is no need to obsessively fear making wrong choices or failing in life, for that is the very reason we are alive. It is an inherent value that can't be found in any periodic table or catalog, something that exists because of who we are.